Hey, Nick.
Hey, Chase.
It's that time again.
What time is it?
Time for
Fuck This Place!
Chris, are you there?
Don't know why it's usually my wife's name, but that's okay.
No worries. I can't quite see. Hey, what's up? I can rename you. It doesn't really matter for the
No,
your name
I'm
doesn't
fine.
show up.
If I'm only known by my wife, then I'll be fine with that. She's pretty great.
All right.
You just slowly start taking her identity.
Yeah,
She's pretty great.
Right,
and
because
her
we
social security
look
number is-
exactly alike. We look exactly alike.
You're just always doing like that clown like bit where you're both moving the same way at the same time.
I hated that bit in all these things. Even as a kid watching I Love Lucy, I'm just like,
That's what I'm referencing. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. That's
you
the,
don't look the same as Harpo Marx. Why are you doing this? This isn't funny.
Yeah, that's exactly who I was thinking of, the Lucy bit with the Marx Brothers. Yeah.
That's
Good.
not a bit I remember, but I do remember the bit at large, and it's not a believable bit.
It's a bit that's, I think I put in the same as like a bunch of kids stacked on top of each other with a trench coat. You know, like
but I do like that bit better.
Well, I think I laugh at that.
I like that bit
more,
better too.
But I think it's one.
I
of
like
those
that one
ones
better
that,
too.
It's a conceit. It's a conceit that we hold. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's just one of those ones that like I can think of a specific like Little Rascals example, but also I know that bit just exists in the world being played out over and over by different people.
For sure.
But
it's really two kids in a trench coat. That's the thing I think they're getting wrong. It's just two kids. 3 kids is too tall of a person.
I think that's partially it though too.
That's part of the bit. I get it. Okay.
When I was in 6th grade, I was 6'1". So I was in upper 5 feet all through elementary school. And so, and then I stopped growing, but like, I would have been able to pull off just a trench coat, which would have been weird because who wears a trench coat and isn't
adults
an awful human.
Yeah. You would have 100%. They would have thought 100%. They thought you were a detective, right? Like just like a narc,
right?
Like you're just like, this is cop. There's an adult solving a mystery here.
The cop kid.
Yeah.
Hey there, fellow students. What's going on? Hey, cool kids.
We're gonna get drugs or candy or candy that tastes like, or drugs that taste like candy.
Yeah. That kid with the super deep voice and the full beard wants to know where he can buy drugs. I was just telling Chase that someone broke into my truck a few days back.
Oh no.
Yeah, and just stole a bunch of shit.
Nick you got a real skill for getting your shit broken into.
Dude. I mean,
you
it's
know,
just...
Nick has multiple, in my recollection, multiple stories of people breaking into vehicles of his in his possession. Not always his vehicle.
Yeah,
you had a rental in San Francisco that got broken into.
Oh, dude, that's right. I forgot. Dude, I was in San Francisco for like 10 seconds, and I turned around, and my car was just windows all busted out.
You're like, you want to go to the In-N-Out at San Francisco? You're like, sure.
Yeah,
broke, and then you just left with your window shattered. Yeah, you were in the car.
Yes,
I've never had anything stolen from me before, and now that I say that, I'm going to lose like everything.
But
like, everything's just gone.
Everything's burned to the ground. That's let's not manifest that right now. You know, we should start the podcast. Welcome to Fuck This Place, the podcast about jobs with Chase and Nick. My name is Chase.
My name is Nick, and with us today, another fantastic guest. He is the co-host, co-creator of the I Like to Like Things podcast. It's a very, very fun podcast. I just did it. He is all over the internet, but he is here today. He is with us. He is Chris Braaten. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, we just got done doing our Screen Up episode together.
Yeah, I just listened to it. I just listened to the review, the response. And I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy that you enjoyed the film. It's one of my favorites.
I did. I really enjoyed it. Like,
what was the film that you liked, Nick? That you were pitching?
Scream.
Oh, Scream. Oh, yeah.
Did their Halloween episode.
Tight.
Yeah. So it was good.
It's good. We've talked about Scream on this podcast. Me like you.
Yeah. You can't go very long talking to me without hearing about it. Like it's like my friends, my family, like a guy on the bus. You're on that bus long enough for me. I'll bring it up.
See, the thing is, the second year they're in college.
Aren't
they in college the second time?
The second year they're in college. Yes.
Nice.
It's like you just trying to slip it in. You're like me and blacksmithing shows on the History Channel. Just like any second you go in, like, yeah, gosh, it's horrible about like how you're feeling today. It's and everything. Hey, have you ever heard of Forged in Fire on the History Channel? It's
I
fantastic.
came so close to watching Forged in Fire the other day. So,
you want to
no, I know I'm going to say that given the analogous love that Nick has for Scream, if you're telling me that Forged in Fire has that level of enthusiasm for you, I will watch at least one episode so that I don't have to get into a conversation with either of you.
Right. Well, you don't want to. You don't want to watch the show because the weird thing is you're going to be like, I can build a forge.
I could do that.
Backyard. I
could be forged in fire.
Yeah.
What about my elbow? Yeah. I get it. Okay.
What about my elbow?
What about parts of me? I'm going to become the forged bionic man. Chris, the first segment that we do on every podcast is a segment that we actually like to call Fuck This Place ? And we're going to jump into that right now. The way that this segment works is you're from Bakersfield, correct?
Yes. Yeah. That's correct. Nice.
So what we did is we went to the Bakersfield Craigslist, which is a fun place to be.
You're in for a treat. Yeah,
we all are, I think, because we're all here now. And so what we did is we pulled 3 posts. I'm going to read the title to all 3. You're going to pick, just like we're browsing Craigslist, you're going to pick one that's like, I'm not even going to fucking click on it. That's like an automatic no, right? And then we'll look at the other 2 and decide if we work there or not. Does that make sense? Okay, so title number 1 is I need someone to help with organizing and sticking to a schedule. It says it's remote. I have a hard time believing that, but who knows? Okay, post number 2.
I think my mom posted that one.
Could be.
Like legitimately. Yeah. Like my mom probably posted that. Yeah.
I just help me, please. Post number 2 is assist with pop-up camper. And post number 3 is the title is Yoda says, money you seek, truck driving you must. And then it says 0.60 CPM. I don't know what that means. Maybe they'll describe it in the post. Which one is an automatic no? The someone to help with organizing, the pop-up camper, or the Yoda truck driving?
Oh, like not the Yoda one. I
You're
wouldn't be
saying
able
no
to
to
handle.
Yoda. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
fine.
I wouldn't be able to handle. Whoever does that, I won't be able to handle it like mentally.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, if someone says Yoda says money you seek, truck driving, you must.
Yeah, just someone's immediately trying to force Star Wars on me. Like in the first thing they ever say to me is a character, is an impression.
I'm back on the bus.
It could be my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be my dad too, because my dad tries to slip in Yoda, but like he doesn't actually know who Yoda is. He just knows that Yoda speaks a certain way.
He just knows the syntax is weird.
Yeah, not really, because he'll just kind of like do an odd inflection, and so like he'll make his sentence into a question, so it'll be like, "Do you want money?" And then that's what he thinks Yoda. That's Yoda right there.
Okay, yeah. So pretty far removed from the actual character. But yeah. Okay, great. So this person is going to try and do an accurate impression. That's bad. So I say let's jump straight into this pop-up camper situation because I'm curious and we'll find out what's going on with this someone who needs help in a minute. Okay, so post number 1 title again is assist with pop-up camper. No pictures or anything, just text, and the ad begins, says hi semicolon, not hi comment.
That's the real wild card of grammar.
We're typing fast. The semicolon is it's
it's fast. And
has anyone ever used a semicolon like
for real
confidently?
I have.
You know what I mean? Like
confidently? No.
But like confident, like this is where it goes.
I had a friend, the smartest friend I've ever had. I don't know how smart he is in the real world, but to me, he's the smartest guy I've ever met. Right. And I went to high school with this gentleman, and his like technique, because we were both in AP English, like the smarty pants English, but he said for all written, and this includes like he was in all the AP classes, like history, biology, all the shit. Because at the end of the semester you have to test to see if you would get into better, like you can skip like first year classes if you test out right using these AP tests. For the written section, he said one of his tried and true methods was it, because typically it'd be like a 1-page or a 2-page like response thing, whatever. He's like, put a semicolon in one time. You put on one of the pages, you got to get a semicolon in, and they'll think you're smart. I'm like, that's incredible. But also, what a risky move. It's like a loaded gun for people who don't know what they're doing.
Well, this person did that. They put it right there.
They sure did. Yeah, put it in. Sure, fine. Okay. And the post continues. Says, my pop-up camper is sitting in front of my house in Bakersfield, which is nice that it's close. I need assistance putting it up so that it can be cleaned. I will also need assistance taking it down the following day. Just right away. Okay. Putting up and taking down takes about an hour each. Seems like a long time, but I don't know. Pop-up camper is super good. I am not experienced with the setup. Okay. And take Dawn. I think they mean take down. Mm-hmm. Take Dawn, but maybe Dawn is going to be involved. I'm not experienced with the setup, and take my friend Dawn of a pop-up camper. So you will need to have experience. I'm flexible with the dates, and can pay $40 cash.
I think it's pronounced wide.
Oh, wide.
Flexible wide the dates.
Wide the dates away. And can pay $40 cash on both sides. I assume they mean both times. Please let me know if you're available to assist. Thank you, and be well. And that is the posted compensation does say cash. So that is nice that they're not going to make this a W-2 situation.
This is the weirdest way anyone's ever asked me to go camping with them. Like, it's going to take a while in the beginning and end, so you might as well just stay and drink beers with me all night.
I know where China Grade Loop is. I know where China Grade Loop is.
Okay.
And I'm looking up where Twin Leaf is, and that's a big fat no.
Okay.
That's a big fat no.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in the northern Bakersfield sort of hinterland. Is that the deal?
Nope, don't go there.
Don't. It's just dangerous, or what? Is it just super boring?
Yeah, so that's called Oildale is where that is.
Okay.
It's actually was its own little town before Bakersfield was even like created. Mm-hmm. And it whenever somebody makes fun of Bakersfield, and this is completely like 100% like accurate when people make fun of Bakersfield, this is the area that they think all of Bakersfield is.
They're specifically referencing this sample.
They are referencing this specific. It's the 08, the last two digits of the zip code.
Okay.
And it's people from the 08, meth and racism and just like everything horrible with anybody.
Scamps abound, you could say.
Yeah.
Centered right in that area, and that is the only thing that people think Bakersfield is this area.
What's the camping like there? How's the camping like? Yeah.
You know what? There are a lot of people that camp in that area.
Okay.
On the streets.
Sure.
On the streets.
Yeah.
So not a pop-up situation, more of a
not a pop-up situation.
Fold up.
So then do we
$40? That's pretty it's pretty generous, actually.
That's somewhat generous. Yeah. I mean,
it's not an hour's worth of work.
It does bother me. You know, Nick, you say that you think you're getting invited camping secretly. I think it bothers me that you're not inviting me, but more importantly, that you're not, I don't think you're going camping. I think you want to clean this thing and then you want to take it right back down the next day. If you go camping, you want to go at least a couple nights.
Right.
You know, not always, but maybe I could be wrong. Could be a real quick one-nighter.
Do we think this guy's homeless? Is that what we're saying?
No, this person says
in the camper and keeps it going.
Specifically says house.
My house in Bakersfield. I mean, obviously they could be throwing us off, but I think this person, you know, it could be that they cook meth in it and they need it cleaned, like deep cleaned, you know,
for sure.
But also they're not, what blows my mind is that they, just a couple things. This is just like, if this had nothing to do with a pop-up camper, I still have problems here. It says putting up and taking down takes about an hour each. Like, okay. So you must be experienced, for instance, in using this pop-up camper. And then they immediately follow with, I am not experienced with the setup and take down of a pop-up camper. So you don't actually know that it takes an hour to set it up and put it down. And I would also think, again, I am not super versed in like the stock, you know, the sales stock of pop-up campers, but an hour seems kind of steep. It seems like a long
Well, maybe
time.
He's including like all the times he fails and then like kicks the camper and there's like cussing and like, you know, all the other stuff he's got to do.
Yeah. And all the stories they got to tell you.
You know, what's terrible is actually, I'm actually very qualified to help this person.
Okay.
And like $40 is $40.
It would be $80. It says $40 cash on both sides.
You're right. Yeah, it is $80, huh?
So that's not bad at all.
I could probably get it done in half an hour. So really it's $40 for every half hour. So it's $80 an hour job.
Okay. We're turning this around.
Let me just click on this real quick.
What makes you more experienced, Chris? Do you have experience with pop-up campers? Do you know, kick some tires?
Kick some tires, light some fires. No, that is what we did as kids was camp.
Got it.
That is like what we did. My dad and like I've taken my kids one time camping because you know why? Camping as a dad is horrible. I don't know why my dad did it. But then I realized, my dad had 3 sons who did all the hard, terrible stuff.
Oh shit.
And so then when we took my kids, they were too little to like help out with those things. And so it was just all on me. It was freezing. It was freezing and I hated it. And it was just like, but my kids loved it. Both my daughters just like, Dad, can we go back again? Like,
can you fix us 3 meals a day?
Yeah. You were like, you show me some calluses on your hands and we'll go back. Right.
Right.
Dig this hole real quick. I'm going to time you and we'll see where we are. But I mean, I'm going to say especially given the background that Chris is giving me for the region, the sub-region, you might even say, I'm going to say no, just because I just think that whatever's going on here, this person, I don't even know if it's illegal. They're just going to want to talk for too long. They're going to, it's going to be an hour. They're going to hold you. They're going to hold me. That's for darn sure. I might be finished, but they're like, well, do you want a high C? We got a couple of those still in the camper. Like, let's just sit in it and hang out.
Is it ecto though? Is it ecto cooler?
Ecto cooler? I don't know. If it's ecto cooler, then I have to stay. You have to stay. So again, I'm gonna get like tangled up in this person's web. So I'm gonna say no, and Godspeed.
Yeah, I'm out just based on Chris's description of this place and how it is the absolute. Just a nightmare of a place within Bakersfield. So I don't want to drive out there for $40 and then have to deal with whatever wild card this guy might be. We still haven't addressed like his semicolon as a person. Like, he's a still semicolon guy.
Yeah. He's a real reckless, a real Evil Knievel here, a real like danger guy.
It's just too many variables for me. I don't know anything about this place or this guy or what kind of English he studied. So I'm out.
Literature, I think you mean. Chris?
You know what? I'm heading there. I would do it. Yeah, I would do it. This is not
no big deal. MBD.
I think I can handle it.
Plus, you're tall, so I feel like that's a huge benefit when in the pop-up camper and getting threats department.
Right.
I'm 5'7", so I show up and I'm like, I can't even reach the top of this pop-up camper, buddy. And then by then I've been stabbed. So that's just not how it's gonna go. Okay, so not entirely fuck that place. Okay, post number 2 is I need someone to help with organizing and sticking to a schedule. Could be Chris's mom. There are 11 pictures on this post. We're gonna breeze through them. Picture number 1.
They don't need help.
Picture number 1 is
they don't need help getting organized. They are very educated.
It's a resume is what this picture is. So I would say, just ballparking, not going to read this entire person's resume, but it is organized and I can read it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's clear that there's like dates and places and names, Picture number 2 is a building. It looks like it honestly looks like a building in San Francisco.
Right? Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so but it's like an apartment building. I mean, and with like a little corner market store underneath.
All right, immediately I'm like, this guy does need help organizing because what is this even?
Because what's happening?
His resume and then a picture of a building.
Well, if you go back, he's way more qualified than me. Like he doesn't need my help.
Did go to Pepperdine.
Hold on a second.
If this is this person's resume, you could just Google a resume. Right. I mean, I've Googled resumes before and I'm not saying that this isn't this person. I'm just saying.
Yeah. My friend Chase has Googled resumes.
It is a more impressive resume because it looked like this person graduated from Pepperdine University in Malibu.
No, they went to UCLA. This person's a lawyer.
What?
Okay,
hold on a second. Just to be clear, the text says Brandon M. Garrett, Esquire, a sole proprietorship. That's too many descriptions for law. right? It's not a law firm, called Brandon M. Esquire, right? It's a sole proprietorship, and sole proprietorships in business sense are not that hard to set up. This isn't like an episode of Ally McBeal or something with like a big firm and like a big co-ed bathroom and a dancing naked baby. I was thinking of Ally McBeal the other day. Anyways, what I'm saying is
that's what a show.
What a weird show on network television that was.
I gotta finish that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have 11 pictures to get through, folks.
So I want to talk about Ally McBeal.
Say it now.
I want to talk about Ally McBeal.
Okay.
I did not know. I never watched the show.
Sure.
I never watched the show. I have seen clips of Robert Downey Jr. singing Sting songs and absolutely crushing it. Like absolutely crushing it. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, they
how well he sings.
Show.
They do sing. It was the first Glee, is what it was.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris, you were saying about Robert Downey Jr.
Anyway, I just it's like, come on, how could he be that talented all the time and sound just like Sting?
I mean, it could be.
I'm looking this guy up too, by the way.
Okay, so image number 3, and you're gonna want to see this one, is
just a pipe sticking out of the ground.
Honestly, this makes me think more San Francisco, because isn't this sort of like a drainage thing that sometimes when basements flood, like they have these weird, it's like a weird side of the wall of a building, the outside of a building. There's like a hole and like a pipe. I don't know how to describe it. It's a hole on the side of the building, but not in the side of a building.
Dude, I don't know. Yeah, I believe everything that's in San Francisco. Every time I'm in that city, I am constantly out of breath.
I just remember this. I visited a friend in Berkeley a few years ago, and it was fucking pouring rain, it was in January, and he was just like, we were walking back from the fucking whatever that train is, and the BART, and because I like busted or whatever, and he was like, oh, well, let me check something. He lifts a hole, and honestly, I think if there was no water in it, it would have looked like this. He was like, I bet you the basement's flooded again. And and there was just like this, it looked like a thing that was designed, I don't know how to like deal with drainage from a building.
How it is it catches the rain, and then that it's wet down there.
Yeah. I don't know, but he said it drains things. I was like, all right, man, it looks like a lot of water to me.
We drained it or what?
My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law both live in San Francisco, and from what they tell me, you could rent that space out for $2,000-$3,000 a month.
You're absolutely right. If it is at least coffin deep, you could have somebody there. Yeah. Okay, so that's picture number 3. Picture number 4, it's a real turn, folks.
Wow, that's a hard left.
In a hospital is what it is. And it is not well lit. It is a person going through a real tough time by the looks of it, because they got tubes. This is a lot. This picture.
This is like, not even joking. This looks like a person on life support.
Correct.
Are there captions that I'm not seeing?
There are zero captions. Don't worry. There's going to be some text in this ad. And then picture number 5 is, I think, perhaps the same person or somebody else. And then this does have a little bit of a caption, but it's not a caption. It's like a time. This person does need organizational help. I think
he fell down. He fell down that hole. That's what's happened. So like
he was dropping off his resume, walked by that hole, fell in, is on life support, now is learning to walk.
And now he's getting better. Because there's a person I'm so overwhelmed by information. If you're listening, there's a person who is learning to walk with assisted by a nurse. And then there is a file name that you would think is the caption, but if you look at it, it ends at .m4v. So it's like the person tried to upload a video, but it says learning how to walk in straight line again.
Chase, let's just burn through these because this is okay. This is a flyer for his stand-up comedy show.
And then we have another flyer of a person that says that they're a mentor. And again, there's a lot of people in neck braces. And then it says magicwandscenario.com, number 8. Number 9 is let me help you write that.org, a letter writing company. Number 10 is the same thing, but just the different logo. And number 11 is back to Magic Wand Scenario. So I think we can universally agree this person needs a shitload of organizational assistance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's burn through this.
All right, here we go. I'm in need of someone sharp who can help me keep all the balls I'm juggling in the air. Shit's about to get real, as they say. I don't believe that. But all kidding aside,
Great joke.
But all kidding aside, I have 3+ endeavors that I'm trying to keep afloat 24/7. That's too many endeavors, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to keep this podcast afloat 24/7, and it barely happens. I want to find the perfect right hand guy/gal, approximately 12 to 16 hours, being on call, i.e. available by phone, text, email, Slack, but in a given week, probably a maximum total of a few hours on the phone or emailing. I have no idea how many hours. Oh, no more than 10 hours, they say.
Well, is that 10 on top of the 12 to 16 that you're actually working?
I couldn't tell you. Okay. In other words, while you would be instrumental in helping me keep everything afloat, some would say running from one fire to the next. Not good if that is the opener to your job post. Mm-hmm. Scheduling, email introductions, doing a bit of research, helping initially answer questions, making introductions, etc. As I've tried to allude, some really exciting stuff is on the horizon. You get to be front row to it all. I am gripping the wall because there's so much going on here. It will be
I'm reading ahead, like I'm skipping ahead.
Yeah, we are going to skip ahead because this next
Yeah.
paragraph is just him pitching. It's going to be a good time, which I question about you. This is perfect for someone who wants to make a few $100s a month, helping a guy, yours truly, get a lot of sweet shit. Pardon the French.
Finger guns. He's there like this guy does finger guns.
We got a lot of finger guns
for sure.
Life and wellness expert, a writing company, and a traumatic brain injury advisory firm, covering everything from A to Z. If you or a friend, family member have been plagued by TBI, as I was on February 11th, 2017, and then there's a link. But please know that I'm on federal disability. Okay, so we're really switching lanes.
Yeah, this is a lot about him now in the about me section.
It's not about you. We were on about you. Now we're back to this dude. I'm on federal disability, only $2,218 a month, which is not a lot of money. And so I'm sorry, but initially I won't be able to pay more than a few $100s. After the new year, I expect this to
That was on the roof. That was on the roof, that hole. So look at here. Others after he seeks damage ventures after falling through roof. So that hole was he fell through that.
Oh,
and that's
okay,
him
so
on life support.
The URL to the article. Thank you, Chris. You're doing like next level research here. Yes, this person must have fallen through a roof and experienced a traumatic brain injury, which is a big deal. Like
now he's fighting back against roofs. His war against roofs.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get rid of the roofs, folks.
Yeah.
After the new year, and this has got to be the biggest lie of this entire post. After the new year, I expect this to be properly compensated at $1,000 a month at least. I'm talking about the glue that helps me keep all this stuff together. So we're back to this person. Interviews, drafting letters that I need to send. Based on seeing every single letter I've ever written, you'll have a great idea of how to rock and roll.
Wait, what?
Okay, so, the next paragraph, I'm just going to summarize. The next paragraph says, I don't want to insult you, but like bottom line is I can't pay you that much money. And then he goes into the fact that he's a real estate agent. So that's why it's critically important for you to be able to like have some calls directed to you between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Oh,
cool. Anyway, okay, so this is the the crux of it at the end. So in your response, let me know how much money you'll be willing to accept until April 1st, 2022. We are in November at this point, after which I'll etch it in stone now. Your salary will be $1,000 each month, beginning no later than your compensation for the month of April 2022. I don't play games. I hope you trust me. I hope I do too. My resume is attached, so you know I'm for real. Okay, so there was a real resume.
That was the resume, yeah.
About making some incredibly awesome things happen. I'll look forward to speaking with you soon. That is the post.
Whew, I'm going to be quick about this. No. No, thanks. I don't want any part of this. I don't want people calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning asking me about my crazy boss. So I'm going to say
6 a.m. to 9 p.m. is not good.
That's a long window.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no because this person just needs to fucking focus. And I don't mean like focus, like if you have traumatic brain injury, I understand you can't focus. What I'm saying is you need to simplify the things that you are doing. Right.
Yeah.
And like pick one thing and then do that. And maybe you can get somebody to help with that. Maybe.
Yeah.
So I say no, because you are badly organized, but there's nothing I could do to help you foundationally.
Right.
Chris.
I want to email him to see his every letter he's ever written.
Yeah,
Just because like this whole thing, this is a journey. This took me on a journey, and I want to know more. I don't want to work for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I need a new book. Like I just finished some books. And so like, I need something new to read. And
yeah. Sort of a Game of Thrones.
This is the journey.
Size. Yeah. Several epochs to get through.
Yeah. Several letters written about places he's fallen off of.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, I mean, maybe fuck this place. Heyo, what's up, everybody?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, did you know that you can text this podcast? The number is 470-223-5627. That's 470-223-5627. We take your side, by the way. That's an automatic position. If you text us, we're on your side.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about your boss. You think I'm going to protect that guy? I hate that guy. I hate that guy. I got your back. We got your back here.
Absolutely. If we're this is like a weirdo, like sleazy lawyer commercial. I mean, we're on your side to a point, you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm wearing a goofy suit right now.
I'm wearing a brown tie. Couldn't tell you why. If you need to talk shit about something, like we're your shit talking team. All you gotta do is text 470-223-5627. That's 470-223-5627. We're on your side.
Chris, what is the first job you ever had?
I worked for my dad at a construction company.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So I just literally digging ditches. Actually, just really honestly digging ditches and that's
just
a
digging
lot.
ditches.
That was a lot of my job.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? Looking back, that was all I did.
Yeah, really.
My dad said, "Hey, do you want to help manage my construction company?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "I dig that ditch for the next 18 years." Yeah.
And then he's an electrical contractor.
Okay.
And so a lot of I would go to work for him on the weekends in between school, and I would either dig a ditch, and then fill that ditch back in, and then or I would pull wire through pipes,
right?
To pull one wire to the next, and so I was very good at it, and it was mainly based on weight because I could yank things down fairly well.
You were a tall boy
because I was a hefty lad, and that was my first job. Yeah, my first job away from the fam, those not with Starbucks. I worked at Starbucks. That was my first job out of high school.
Okay, we got to double back to these ditches.
I want to double back to these ditches. Yeah, I want to talk about these ditches. Okay, so your dad. Okay. Wait, how old were you when you got that job with your dad?
Gosh, man, I don't remember a time when I wasn't digging ditches for my dad. Okay. I want to say,
5, 6.
So I would have been, that was practice time. It was 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So I would have been, when he started his company and went solo, I would have been 12. So I would have been 12 years old.
So your dad's I need someone kind of hefty. You know who? I'm going to bring my 12-year-old son. That's who's going to come in.
Right.
And pull. These jobs also digging ditches and pulling wires sound so hard. That sounds so hard.
It's so hard. It's just so hard.
You're digging ditches, pulling wires. He wanted me to move rocks, but only if I could replace them with heavier rocks.
Right.
Well, did you get you were clearly already strong, but I'm just imagine your grip strength must have been incredible.
Okay,
were you just holding?
Do we want to get into
snapping them?
If I'm strong or not, the answer is yes. I'm very strong.
Okay,
which now feels very horn tooting. Mm-hmm. So, but no,
you start digging ditches at 6 years old. You can fucking be proud of digging ditch. You can brag about that, my guy.
Yeah.
No,
you put in your time.
It's an odd thing because I just started lifting again recently because what else are you going to do? You're stuck in your house all the time. Mm-hmm. So I started lifting again, but no. And it's just because of all that stupid manual labor as a kid, I was I was super strong as a kid. Like it was what Andre the Giant, whenever he says, oh, it's not my fault I'm the biggest and the strongest. I don't even exercise. And that's just how it was. And my brothers too, my brothers, the same thing. I have two brothers and they're both same. They're just strong, big guys. And my brother, he's a doctor and he talks about it. Like he says like, oh yeah, our dad basically like turned our backs into like super backs.
Yeah.
So it's just because like you're just a kid doing all that work. Yeah. It just was like nonstop. My dad didn't have a chill button. I love my dad. My dad's a great dad. I wasn't like this, like we played too. Like, most of my stuff that I did with my dad was like, hey kids, let's wouldn't it be fun to do this? And then it would just be like I'm going to put a piano on my back and I'm going to carry it around. Like, okay, cool, Dad. So let's move this piano.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool to bust up all these rocks?
Yeah, dude.
What if we had a bunch of smaller rocks?
Looking back,
but then he would make us
move pianos with my dad.
But then he would game it. We would game it. And so we would try and beat each other how much we could either lift or move and stuff like that. So that my dad sit there like a super villain.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you also had a little company, which is helpful, I think. I mean, if you had your, were they pulling wires with you as well, or are you the oldest? Or
yeah, I'm the oldest. Yeah, my middle brother, he's only 2 years younger, and he's actually taller than me. I'm wider than him, but he's a good 2 inches taller. But yeah, it just was us and my little brother was an oops baby. And so he came way later. And so
you got to give him rocks in the crib. You're like, try to bust this up. We've been doing it all afternoon.
He is such an absolute train wreck of a human that it's rough. It's rough. So probably should have given him more rocks.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I get it. So, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you did. So what happened when you went to Starbucks where you're like, this is easy as fuck?
just crushing the cash register on accident.
No, at that time, no, legitimately, I put on 100 pounds by the time I was working in Starbucks, because it was that. It wasn't manual labor.
Yeah, we're not burning off the calories anymore.
Yeah. So coming into it, I realized I have the world's worst metabolism. It's horrible. My metabolism is garbage. So so then at Starbucks, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna eat this, and then just eat everything, and because
infinity cake pops.
Yeah, because I wrestled and played football in high school, and so I was working out 3-4 hours a day, and then on the weekends I'd work for my dad, and so the amount of calories that I burned every day was just astronomical. But then the amount of calories that I would intake was also astronomical. My mom and dad said, when we were all living at home, and my dad was a growing man or whatever, as she says it, our food bill was higher than their mortgage. So because it's just the sheer amount of food that we would eat. And we're talking I think at one point we went through 12 gallons of milk a week between all me, my brothers, and my dad. Yeah,
no, you didn't.
It was bonkers.
For real?
Was bonkers. Yeah,
you're saying,
and so there's that.
Hold on, we have to pause here.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
I'll give you the reason for the pause, but you are for sure at 12 gallons a week. You're
talking about that viral story that just came out where
this came out today, and this is gonna
wait, a viral story just came out about Chris,
where there's some CNN
you drinking 12 gallons of milk,
talking about inflation prices or whatever, and somebody said if a family's buying 12 gallons of milk a week, they'll never be able to afford this, and everybody's 12 gallons of milk a week, and I'm we got one right here, folks.
Oh man,
we just need some growing boys.
Yeah,
some wire pulling growing boys. You got 12 gallons.
Well, because
right
it would be cereal. So there's
tons
of cereal to wake up.
Cereal. Yeah,
and then we would add it to, and then if we did a protein shake if we were lifting that day, so then that was that.
And protein shakes, and then just shit.
Yeah, and so then anyway, and then we would just chug it, and so then by the end of it, it would just be that's a gallon or two a day. So yeah, it was like it'd be like 1.5 gallons a day or 2 gallons a day or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
And
that's insane.
And it would just be gone. And then so like I realized, and like the amount of food my mom doesn't cook anymore at all. She doesn't cook. Like, we don't go over to eat at my mom's. Like, I cook for them. And so like I bring food to them.
I could barely make it. Yeah. So she's just retired.
I think we destroyed my mom's will to live and cook. And so she just doesn't.
Like, she's like, my boys ate the shopping cart.
Yeah. Oh, and it would be a fight too, because there would be certain things that we would like more, like anything. So like I would tell, and just the sheer amount of like working out that we did, because we'd have like morning workouts, night workouts, and then weekend stuff. And so the amount of food that we would eat, so then I realized my wife would point it out. She would say that I sit at the table with my hands around my
your plate
food,
is a protective measure.
Because it'd be like, don't touch it. And so like everything would be, and I realized like I don't do it. I finally stopped doing it around like my wife and my daughters and everything. But the second I get around anybody that kind of reminds me of my brothers, just turtle up, don't touch my food.
And close the gates.
Close the gates. But we'd have to, like, my youngest brother especially would eat anything that was prepackaged. Like my mom would try and buy like prepackaged stuff for us to just like grab and go, because it would just be nonstop, or else she would have to cook.
So question, did your Starbucks foray relieve any of this?
How many gallons of milk were you drinking at Starbucks today?
I stopped drinking milk after high school, because I just wasn't, it just,
because you conquered it.
I was done.
I've tasted every milk there is.
I've killed 19
What's funny now,
cows.
I don't even drink milk anymore. I have cashew milk in my fridge right now.
Okay.
For my protein shakes that I do when I lift. And so I can't even do the dairy. I have a little bit of creamer in my coffee, and that's kind of it. And it's just a little bit. No, and so like when I started working at Starbucks, I didn't even like coffee. So I would just drink tea. I would drink iced tea, constantly drinking iced tea, but I put a ton of sugar into it because I was lame. It's like, oh, I can't. This is too spicy.
Well, for sure.
Need the sugar.
So why? Here's my question: why did you transition to Starbucks? Were you tired of just pulling wires, or like
I just couldn't?
Were you working concurrently, or what was the deal?
Yes, no. So it's when I started college, and I needed a job to where it wouldn't be, because like working for my dad, it'd be like 6 to 2:30 is usually like the normal thing. Like you wanted to get in there or earlier, and so I couldn't go to class. Right. And then go. So I just switched to there, and there was a Starbucks by my house. I lived with my parents and during college, and so I would go to the Star. It wasn't that far from my house, so it was and I would work overnight actually, because I worked at this one. You guys might know it. It's on it's at the base of the Grapevine on the north side on Laval Road.
Okay.
You guys might have passed it.
I'm sure passed it. Yeah,
passed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's actually up. Well, when I worked there, it was the busiest Starbucks in the world. It was the busiest Starbucks in the world.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was nuts. Like, and so it was, I must have been a masochist at some, because like I could have gone to other ones and worked and it would have been just chill. Just like, oh yeah, hey, here's your drink. Instead, we had we'd have tour buses coming in and just like lines out the door, and like no one had ever seen anything like this. Like a normal Starbucks would do, like, I want to say it was like $3,000 to $4,000 a day, something like that. That would be like a normal-ish Starbucks. We would do $20,000 to $25,000 a day.
Wow.
Something like that.
Shit.
On Memorial Day weekend one time, we dropped, it was like $48,000 in one day. That's how much we generated.
So now this actually makes sense, in the sense that you went to the wire pulling and ditch digging of Starbucks.
Right.
100%. Yeah. It's like, work has to be hard. So if I'm not working hard, then, so I worked overnight, and so I would work graveyards. I'd work from, what would it be? It'd be 8 to 4. I'd work 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. and then the opening shift would go in. I'd go home. I usually tried to schedule classes for like 10, 12, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And then if not, then I just wouldn't sleep a whole lot, but that's just how I work. And so to stay awake and stuff, because you'd have to throw out stuff there. And so I just would eat like I would. Yeah. I wouldn't drink coffee, drink tea. I didn't drink coffee till I had kids. And then now I drink way too much. But so we would just eat like the pastries, and then they started adding sandwiches. Because like when I started working there, they didn't even have the sandwiches yet. And so like you'd have to
they're doing $40,000 of sales in just coffee.
I'm not throwing the sandwich away. I'm going to eat this sandwich and then I'm going to eat this. I'm going to eat another one. And so anyway, so I ate like I did, ended up putting on, gosh dang, man, like, a lot of weight. And so it was a lot of weight. I just this year lost it from 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
When I was working at Starbucks. Yeah.
Well, Starbucks is pretty calorie dense food. And again, you were used to the most manual labor.
Right.
The most manual labor.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But
okay. Well, I was gonna say, Chris, so let's call those your first set of jobs. And that's pretty wild. So, okay, those are your first jobs. Chris, what would you say is the worst job you've ever had?
Oh man, there was some times at Starbucks that could have been the worst. It could have been the worst, because they were just like horror stories of people, how horrible they are to you.
Absolutely.
In the service industry.
100%.
And then I became an assistant manager later on. And I remember one point, someone's bowels exploded in the bathroom. Oh, and like it was on. Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. And it was on the ceiling. It was on the walls. Whoa. It was on, and like I remember obviously remember, this place was busy 24/7, packed to the brim, everything. And at one point we only had 2 bathrooms. We ended up demolishing half the store and adding in gigantic bathrooms. And so I remember this old man walked in, and like, you kind of can tell it was like, okay, something's wrong with this guy.
Guy's in trouble.
This guy's a fucking weirdo.
This guy's in trouble. Yeah. Like, he's not good. He's not doing good. But then I'm just like, whatever. Just go back to making drinks and everything. Trying. Somebody yelling at me to put more caramel on their frappuccino. It was it was just awful. Yeah. Just like, that's not enough caramel. That's not how they do it at my Starbucks. That would be a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to die in the car. You need to put more caramel.
I need a heart attack. The my Starbucks thing is strong.
Yeah. Oh, it was tough. And so anyway, this guy's going to the bathroom, and people are animals when they're at Starbucks too, by the way. Just like like reason and compassion just goes out the window. Right. And plus you couple it in with these people who've been driving over LA traffic trying to get north through the 5.
They're just trying to get the fuck out of there. Yeah. And they think that this Starbucks, that's the thing about traveling. And I'm sure you're familiar with this, Chris, but for those who aren't familiar, the thing about traveling along the 5 is the worst road ever. The worst road of all time. Although I would say basically, you could, almost every state has one of these roads where it's just like, this is the road. Right. And so, everybody who like, you leave to LA, it's shitty traffic, and you finally get to go to the mountains, and you're like, I'm free, and then you're like, no, I'm just here with the rest of these fucking fucks that I was with for the past 3 hours. They're still here. But I think that so these people, the expectations just fall apart as soon as they walk into that Starbucks and realize it's as fucking busy in here as it was out on the road.
Right. And so you had sympathy for these people, but this dude's walking in from the place trying to go to the bathroom. The reason I knew something was wrong with him is he bypassed everybody to the bathroom. So I knew that something was wrong.
Gotta get out of the way.
Yeah. So people were like being weird in the lobby, and they were like making like a couple different lines, which never happened. And then so it turns out the dude leaked all the way from the door to the bathroom. And nobody was like trail. Yeah, basically. I wish it was solid. I wish it was a solid trail. And anyway, and so people just were like, screw it. I still want my coffee. So stepping over it, not saying anything, and just like, you animals, you insane, you guys are insane. Yeah. And so then I had to go to the bathroom. I was in charge at the time. I'm like, I can't go tell somebody to go clean this up.
Yeah, this is very noble of you.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, hey, you go clean that up. Like I would, it's like, oh, that you go to hell for that. Like that's the buck. So like,
yeah, you
like,
do. Yeah.
hey, you take care of that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it was, but like people were so pissed at me that I was closing one of the bathrooms too. They were like, I was getting cussed out, I was getting screamed at, and people were just like yelling. It's like, do you see the explosion that this human being
we've had
did?
poop,
and like
we've had poop pyrotechnics in here.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So like he went in there and he died. He exploded. like he exploded totally into shit all over the.
Yeah. He didn't leave, and that's when I knew something was wrong, when he didn't leave the bathroom, and there was just a human. The human stain was on the wall.
It was like a cartoon, like it was in his shape, you know, like it was in the shape of him.
It's like a Wile E. Coyote.
Little cartoon boy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that one was like that was when I stopped ever being grossed out by anything ever.
Yeah.
And like I never like, it's not like I lost my shame, my body shame, when I wrestled. Because you'd have to strip down to weigh. So I didn't have any shame of my body, never have. And then went there and like, oh, I have no sense of gross anymore. Nothing will ever gross me out.
Your
ever
gross
again.
nerves are burned away completely.
They're just gone, absolutely gone.
By that little
So
old man
and
and his shit.
Cleaned it. He was not little. He was a big
guy?
man.
He's a big guy.
And then I noticed something was, because he walked out with an entire case of toilet seat covers. He just stole them.
He's like a shit terrorist. Like he just goes in, explodes the bathroom, and then leaves with anything that could have saved anybody.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, no,
yeah.
And then you get people that like, we would be out of stuff. Like you'd be out of like soy milk, and people would treat you like you like killed their grandma or something like that. Like be like, oh, you're out of. I'm sorry, we're out of soy, and they tell you to go check in the back.
Yeah, like you were hiding soy back there.
Hey, check in the back of the place that you know and work in.
One guy,
I'm the first person who suggested this, by the way.
We had to fire somebody one time because he was mean, and it wasn't the only thing, but like I got it. He told somebody, "What do you want me to go do? Milk the soy cow?" And then just like so he was yelling at a customer. It's like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. But the worst job was I used to write ad copy for a local magazine. When I'd finished college, I was an English major, and I just lost my job as a server, which I loved being a server. It was a lot of fun. And like honestly, like if I would go back and serve again, it was just fun. Like, yeah, there were people that were crappy to me and stuff sometimes, but like overall, like it's good money. I was personable. I made good tips. It was fun. It was a steakhouse. I ate steak, put on even more weight.
Yeah.
And
cool.
But yeah, no, I wrote ad copy, and it was the people that own the magazine were the weirdest. Like sometimes I think back on it, like the owners of the magazine, and we're just like, were they real? Like, did they act like did I dream them up? It was just
well, what were they weird about? Were they weird about you? Were they worried about the magazine? Or
they were so they had this magazine, and it's called Bakersfield Magazine. Just straight up, that's just what it was called. Like I'll call it out Google right search. Now. It's called Bakersfield Magazine. Bakersfield. Oh, Bakersfield Magazine. Yeah, Bakersfield Magazine.
What's that one about Bakersfield called?
And I guess what they would do before is that they would just like freelance it out, or they would write the articles themselves or something like that. And I guess like they used to own like there were newspaper editors in like Baltimore or something like that. Like, and so then when they moved here, they wanted to start a magazine, and like just like a whatever, it's just a whatever magazine. But main thing was to sell ads. Like they just sold ad space in this thing, and it would be whatever every time you were in a doctor's office, there would be Bakersfield Magazine, that is what you would have. And so they put a friend of mine who was a good friend too. He was their neighbor, and when I'd lost my job, he's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, they are hiring writers." And it's like, oh, I have my English degree. Like I can write.
I can write.
I know semicolons.
I'm
I'm a writer. I know semicolons. I actually do know how to use a semicolon. It was a joke. So it's nice. Weird. Like I just wanted to be cool and pretend like I didn't know. And so they would.
Oh, dude, I'm so fucking cool. Then I'm so cool.
And so they would. And so I went in for an interview, and they were so they wanted to actually have a staff. They wanted to have staff writers to like take it up to the next level. And so they were hiring people with like writing experience and stuff. And so I'd written some stuff for school. And so I went and interviewed, and I remember it was over the phone because they had horrible emphysema from years and years and years of smoking. And so they were on oxygen. So they were on oxygen. So this is how you just like, oh, I just want a gig. I need something to work. And so they were on oxygen. So you couldn't go see them. They like, you couldn't actually see them face to face because like they were immunocompromised, and it was the husband and wife. They were both. And like, eventually I did go to their house. So like you either interacted with them through email, or you interacted with them through like over the phone. And every so often you would have to go to their house, and you would like, that's where you would see them. But like, you'd have to go masked up. So like, I was fully prepared for the pandemic. Like, I masked up all the time for these weird people.
Wow.
And so then they just would have, so you would go to their house, and they would just have like a central oxygen tank, and they would run over it with their rascal scooter, and they would unplug it. So you'd have to like run and like plug it back in for them really quick.
Save their life?
Die. Yeah. So like, it was just a normal thing. And so like, anyway, these people didn't write. They had like no writing experience whatsoever, but they had very strong opinions on what you had to write.
Now, just to clarify, you said you're writing ads. Who's writing the articles?
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just real quick. So you're telling me that Bakersfield Magazine is run by just several people sharing one oxygen tank? And they're continually running it over.
Yeah, they're both dead. They're both dead, by the way. And they were awful, terrible people. They were horrible people.
Yeah, you're describing, you're almost describing like going to visit a villain.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like where you can't see them, and they're all turned around in their chair, and they come around, and there's all these machines and stuff,
And the husband was okay. Like you could tell that he was just like, this is going to sound weird, he's just a beaten down man.
No, that doesn't sound weird. That sounds pretty normal.
Like an Arthur Miller type, Death of a Salesman type.
Yeah. And so he just is beaten up. But the wife was the wicked witch, man. She was so horrible. And just like, so they had your the computer, I forget what they call it, like whatever you were writing would also show up on their home computer. And so they would watch you in real time.
In real time.
So it would be real time. So I'd be writing and stuff. So we had an office. So the office actually was like where the salespeople were that would sell the ads. The actual like the guy that would like run the office was their son. He was okay. I only spoke to him like once or twice because like they were very specific that like me and the other writer, we answered to them. Like that was so specific. Like they wanted us as like these like weird little like. So I will say I only worked there for a month. It was a month. That's all I could do, and then I found another job like real fast. And so, but it was a full month. And I remember because I was dating my wife, girlfriend, wife, and I remember like it was early into our relationship too. We'd only been dating for like 6 or 7 months. And I remember like, this was like the first real test of our relationship. Like, I hate this job. I got to get a new job. But, so you would be, so they would have they would sell, it's super bad. They like thinking about like how, like I contributed what felt like horrible journalism, which it was horrible journalism.
Yeah.
They would sell interviews to people. Local businesses business. And stuff.
Yeah. Like I have a wine store. And so,
exactly.
And that's the article.
And so we would do articles on these people. Like we were interviewing them as like local business leaders or whatever. It's technically, but they paid for every one of these was paid for.
Everything's paid for in this ad.
Yeah. So everything's, you pay for these interviews. And so the salespeople would so then I would go and I would interview them. And then I would like take pictures and stuff too, because like I was the photographer too. For some reason, I took horrible pictures. It was horrible. And so we would go take pictures and stuff. And then so like that was the main job. That was probably like 90% of my job was writing these articles for people to be like,
which was in effect an ad.
Yeah, which was an ad. Yeah. So I'd write, this would be the ad copy that I would write. And then I would write some of the other ads for that they would do. And then there would be some like local stuff that we would go to. Like if there was like a function, I would have to go like cover it and then write about it and take pictures and be like life around town.
Around the tank.
The mayor paid $10,000 to get this article in here.
but it would be so I would be writing, right? I'd be typing on my computer, which we would be the office was just like 15-20 minutes from their house. Just like down, honestly, like not down the street, but like pretty close. And then I would be typing something and I'd get a call and it'd be the wife, and she would just like not like what I was writing. And it would be just like, it would be like multiple calls a day. It'd just be like, okay, well, I and then she would say, I want you to write this. And so like, I would write that. And then she's like, see, that's good, right? Isn't that better? And then I would have to like agree with her.
Yeah,
like
you have to.
It's like,
man.
And so I'd be like, okay, well, why aren't you writing?
Yeah.
Why aren't you writing it? Like, you don't want me to write it. Like,
did they do this to other people too? I mean, were there other people getting
so there was, so there was another woman that she was like the other person they hired at the same time. And so, same thing. It would be that. And then we would have to proofread each other's. And then they would like make us compete against each other for like sport. Sometimes like nice. like a writing dog fight. Like it was a cockfight between me and this woman that like who could get. And so they're like, okay, we have this ad. We're going to have you both write it. And we're going to pick which one's the better one for this. And it was just like, and they liked it. They like super fed off of it. That like, we were like competing for it. But I remember we would go to their house, and I remember one time I went there, and like they would get mad at she would get mad at us like a mom. It was really weird. And I was 25. No, I was 24. I was 24, and I was 24, and so like I wasn't like a child. You know, I was a young guy, but I wasn't a child. And so like I remember going there one time, and it was for something, and she got mad at us for like an hour. Like a mom scolding because we didn't bring our notepads to write down her thoughts. But that wasn't what we were going for the meeting for. It was so weird. Yeah, she's like, well, now the first problem. No, and so she's like, so like we sat down and we were waiting to have the talk and everything. Now you both have made a critical mistake that no true journalist should ever do.
Oh, shut up.
And so we'd be like, and so it's just like cocking our heads. It's like, neither of you brought notepads to write down what I'm saying. And like, I had them ready because I knew you'd forget them. And so like she pulls out notepads, like ready to go. And then she would like make us go on, like, we'd have to drive around town and like, just like, I want you to drive around town and just find something interesting that you see. It was so weird. It was a power trip. It was just a power trip. And I remember like I finished the month out. We put out the magazine. We did it. And then like the second that we published it, I'm like, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm out. Like this is it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, a month. I lasted a month. And so, but it was, I can't even remember all the weird stuff she would say. It was so strange. But I definitely saved their lives a few times. It was super weird.
I cannot get over that they're just sharing an oxygen tank, just fucking rolling the rascals all over the place.
And I changed it for them one time. I changed it. Like I was there. And so like, it's like, okay, no, you didn't want to write it. You wanted like a personal assistant.
Yeah.
But they had a personal assistant.
Oh, that person must have been living a nightmare.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So she just like, they would call her and they liked it that she was at the office, but she would have to go back and forth. But I remember one time, like they called me, I was out on assignment. It was just something stupid. And it was that like, hey, we need you to come here for a meeting. All the meeting is that the oxygen tank guy was there and they needed me to lift it because I was strong enough to lift the oxygen tank.
Wires. Yeah.
And so just pulling these wires. Yeah. And so it was brutal. But yeah, it was horrible. I wouldn't have wished that job on anybody. It was so bad. And the other people that worked there were so nice, except for one guy that was a finger gun guy. He just finger gunned everything.
He's probably a sales guy, right? You can't help it.
Yeah, exactly. He was. But he'd come in and be like,
making weird noises. Oh man.
Yeah. And so, hey, how's it going?
Chrissy boy.
What? Yes. He called me Chrissy boy at one point. Yeah.
No shit.
And then
what's up?
Yeah, he called me Chrissy boy. Or he'd say Christopher, which nobody calls me that. Like my mom and my grandma called me that. Like that's who called. No one calls me Christopher. So it's weird. My dad will every now and then. I don't mind it when they call me that. But then like if someone that doesn't know me, like why are you using my full name? Like nobody calls me Christopher. That is weird. Yeah. So like Nick, do people call you Nicholas? And
well, I was just gonna say, no one calls me Nicholas. The only people get like passes on it are like my mom and my aunt Carol because they've called me that since I was. My dad doesn't want to call me Nicholas. Like, just,
right. Yeah.
Like, no. It's super,
who are you?
Yeah, it's super weird. Sometimes it'd be like, like at the doctor's office, it'd be like Nicholas. You're like, huh? Like just like won't even register.
And like it's not like trying to be a douchey thing because like if someone says my name like on the phone or doctor or something like you said like Dr. Christopher, like I'll get up. But like there is a way that people that want to be in charge of me will use it, and it's
trying to sun you a little bit.
Basically, yes, exactly. It's like it's my name. I don't really care, but there are people that are trying to do it in a weird way. Like this guy, Christopher, what's going on? And then like,
if it comes with a snap, I don't trust it.
Yeah,
right.
No, right. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think his name is Bill. Bill.
Well, William.
Billiam.
Right back at you. Yeah. So
that's dumb man is what it sounds like. Well, Chris, before we wrap, we always have 3 questions to make sure we're kind of covered everything.
Good.
For question number 1 is, when were you done and how'd you quit? And I'm pretty sure we know the answer to this one. It was a month and you were gone. Did you say anything special, or are you just like,
you just cut off you bent their air tanks, like when you twist the knot in a hose, a garden hose.
I keep their air tank
and then just ran into the woods.
I keep their air tank. No, I told them I gave a 2-week notice. Okay. After I'd finished most of my articles. I knew how many more I had to write. I said okay, so this is my 2 weeks. And I wrote it in an email and it was legit. And I honestly, I almost she almost died. She was so mad that I quit. and this paid nothing. By the way, this paid nothing. This wasn't it was nothing is worth this. This job paid absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And so, and they liked that too. They liked, because it's this is your first journalism job. So
fuck you.
Yeah. So
journalism, but yes, it is my first job
and
for
so
magazine stuff.
I remember I sent the email. We're talking.
She can see you right in the email. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're talking maybe 5 seconds. Maybe 5 seconds after I hit send. So yeah, she probably was reading it as I was doing it.
You don't want to quit.
She calls me screaming at me that how dare I let the company down? How she gave all that they did for me, all this kind of stuff.
In the last 30 days.
The last 30 days of horribleness.
I've known you for 28 days, son.
What will become of Bakersfield Magazine?
So she had to get off though, because she started to hyperventilate and she did almost die.
Oh my God.
She was that mad at me. And so me quitting almost killed this woman.
Absolutely. Wow. It absolutely did.
Yeah.
We're going to get to question number 2, but what blows my mind is again, what does that person think they're going to get? You've already put in your 2 weeks. What are you going to get by screaming at somebody? That guy's gonna be like, "Oh, you're right.
Oh, I should stay now.
Thank you for making me bleed out of my eyes.
Yeah.
I can't wait to come back to work tomorrow."
And I remember telling my friend too. I told my friend that was their neighbor, and like, this guy's great. This guy was a great, fantastic guy. Like, he was legitimate because like he knew the people that were the salespeople, and they made a truckload of money. She says, "Oh, they pay their people super well. It's going to be a super good gig."
Yeah.
And so like he's just like, "Oh yeah," and he liked them because they were his neighbors, and didn't come outside much because they couldn't. And so
or attached to the wall.
So I told him ahead of time, like, I just told him, like, man, these people suck.
Yeah.
Like, hard.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Don't talk to them. Okay. Well, question number 2.
Yeah.
Question number 2 is, what would you say? And this may be a deep dive. One good thing you took from that bad job.
Oh my gosh. One good thing. I was trying to think about that because I was like, oh, should I talk about Starbucks? Should I talk about the magazine? I know I
magazine.
Talked about
We're sticking to magazine.
But for the record, I am so glad you told that like exploding shit man.
I know.
That was pretty great. I've never heard of that before.
The one thing for the magazine, like the thing is my worth. That's actually what I took from it. Is that like legitimately, it really taught me what I was worth, that like I didn't have to do this because like there's so many people, especially people like my age and like where I'm from, and that like, oh, you take the job, you do the job until you die. You can't do the job anymore. Until you die. And so like, you know, growing up as a construction worker, like, oh, you never know. Like my dad started his own company, but like I remember when we were real little and we were like super poor, the whole thing was just like, oh, you have work, you take the work. Like that's just what you do. Cause like you never know when the next job is going to come. And so like, that's how my mentality was. And so I remember this job was like, no, I don't have to do that. This is beneath me. And so like, I gained a lot of self-respect from this job.
That's a fucking great one.
That's a great. Yeah.
Okay. Question number 3 is, well, you know, we've had a pandemic and it's been bad and now it's better. I don't know. but like, some people, you know, like some people kind of had like have you had any like shifts in your thinking? Which is kind of like, how are you doing?
You know what? I've actually wanted to do some freelancing. And so actually thinking about it, because like they would call afterwards. And so I didn't mention this, like I would do some, the magazine would call and it wouldn't be them. It was after the wife passed because she went first. So glad for the husband because like he actually ended up being pretty cool. They would call and ask if I wanted to just like write one of the fluff pieces or whatever. And those actually paid way more than I ever made being just the staff writer. Like it was a huge slap in the face.
Yeah.
And so like so like I've actually started doing some like more writing and stuff and thinking about like doing some more articles and things like that. So it's been funny, especially like thinking about doing this episode, like, oh, you know what, I should see because there's a couple other magazines in town, like if they need some freelance work. It's just like it's easy. It doesn't take that long to write if you can use semicolons.
Oh, you know what a semicolon is? Basically, the whole article is semicolons. You just and then in it goes.
I put maybe 2 or 3 in there. Yeah, 2 or 3 every so often. Yeah.
So yeah, more freelance work, or just like thinking more about that kind of stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and then Chris, where can people find you on the internet if you'd like to be found?
Yeah, you can find me at like 2. That's the number 2. Like things on Instagram and Twitter.
Word.
And then and then our show comes out every Monday.
Awesome.
So that's
we will put the links to that in the show notes so you can click to your heart's content. Chris, thanks so much for joining today.
Thank you so much for
a blast. So much fun.
And fuck this place. Rate the podcast, leave a review, 5 stars, 4 stars. You can give less stars, but don't do that. I mean, you can, but just text us. You know, it's 470-223-5627. That's 470-223-5627. You can just let it out, you know. Get mean.
We're here for you.
Okay, that's it. Bye for now.